So, hi guys. Okay, it's me again, Aidi Kabasa. And thanks to everyone that actually subscribed to the channel so far. Thanks to the guys that also engaged me in my last post, which was really encouraging, which I would say was actually the reason why I feel like, okay, probably I should still go ahead and do this one too. And I still want to tell you guys that I'm releasing a song by the 22nd of December, Photocopy Reimagined, featuring Vector. It's an old song of Nice. We all know the song now, Photocopy Coeasy. We reimagined it. Like I always say that every song has an unfinished business side to it. So we recreated the song and Vector actually had to speak some bars on it. And the song will be out by the 22nd of December, which is a few days from now. So what am I discussing today? I've been having loads of guys actually, but definitely disturbing my DM on IG and other platforms that they get to reach me, that we need to keep having some conversation. And the conversation I want to have today, by the way, by next year, I will be starting probably an official podcast where we should be having some of this conversation, because I don't want this conversation to just be about what I think or what I know, all of that. I also want other people to come with their own side, to some of this conversation, because you cannot actually attain balance by having a one-sided conversation. It is always good to have probably a second view, a third view, a fourth view, for us to come to not necessarily a conclusion, because for every answer that we get into sort of this conversation, those answers are going to birth more questions around those conversations. So today, let me quickly go straight to the point. We are talking about mentorship. Mentorship, yeah. I'm sure we all know what mentorship is, people that we look, in layman's time, people that we look up to, people that we listen to, people that will do things that they tell us to do, people that mentors have influence over us, mentors by what they do or by what they say, the way they have influence over us. And over time, as I speak, like I said, people are buzzing my Gmail, especially asking me to be their mentor. Yes, as much as I love to do that, definitely I can't do that for everybody, because I'm still under mentorship too. I'm still learning. And by the way, I have mentors too. I have mentors in almost every aspect of my life, people that I look up to, that I am lucky to have actually discovered this, how will I put it, this principle very early, that I had to keep. Like, one of my strongest mentor is my pastor, Yemi Davids, who happens to be not just my pastor, not just my mentor, but also my friend. Because I can call my pastor my friend, because if somebody I can actually be vulnerable around, that can tell some stuff that I might not tell ordinary people. And I have Kunle Shorin, I call him PK, awesome disruptor, awesome thought leader, somebody that when my mind is going haywire, that the different cables in my head are knocking together, is somebody that I can call on to and say, okay, PK, I'm going through this, or I have this thing that is running in my mind. Check my ideas with him, check my thoughts with him. And he's such an awesome human being. And these two people that I mentioned, I think you guys should go and have a listen to them. And I also have another one who is also my mentor in the music field, Kevin Bond. Is an awesome music producer who has won Grammys severally, the Stellar severally, arguably the best and most celebrated gospel music producer in the United States of America. An awesome gentleman and a man to actually have in your space that you can talk to, that you can listen to. Yes, Kevin Bond lives in America. Yes, every time I might not be calling Kevin Bond, but he's one of the few people that I actually rush to watch his video and also listen to. So let me get to the conversation for today. A lot of people ask for mentors, and I'm going to talk about some of the reasons why some people are scared to actually get mentors, because of the stories that they've heard. Some people, all in the quest of trying to get a mentor, have stumbled on getting mentors. Yes, they have stumbled on getting mentors. Expectation is a very dangerous medicine. Most times, what we expect or how we define who our mentors should be creates some expectations that are unrealistic. Number one, your mentor is not your sponsor. Your mentor is not supposed to be somebody that you are looking up to just to get monies. Because if that person is a mentor, probably what you should be looking out for in that person should be wisdom. And when I say wisdom, I'm going to say something that is a bit sensitive, but I think if you can take out some time to actually think about it, you will see some of the things that I'm saying. We are supposed to learn from mentors, right? But I want to say this, that as much as we learn from mentors, let us also define what we are learning from them. I personally, and this is my POV, my point of view, I learn from their principles, not necessarily from their examples. We have to get that right, that we learn from their principles, why they do what they do, not just necessarily what they are doing. Because sometimes what people do might be so specific and might be so suited to the kind of personality they are or for the kind of things that they do, that most times, instead of us to focus more on why, the principle behind why they are doing what they do, we try to replicate what they have done. This can cause expectation that, okay, when you now do what the other person did and it doesn't work and you just feel like nothing that this person is telling me is working. No, it's because you are supposed to learn lessons. You are not supposed to be playing around what they have done. And lessons that I will suggest that you learn should be from the principle behind what they have done, not necessarily repeat what they have done. The song I'm releasing, by the way, is Photocopy. And you know, when you want to do what other people have done, it's almost like you want to photocopy them. But it doesn't always work like that. And I'm intentional with that word, that always work. Yes, for some people, they do the precise thing that person did and it works for them. Probably the environment supports that in that environment, that if you do it in a particular way, it will work. But I want to say that beyond just doing it the way they have done it, learn why they are doing it, so that you will learn more from their examples rather than just focusing so much on the precise thing that they have done. Many times people will, but this person will teach me that I should always do this, and I always do it, but it doesn't work. I will say that don't just learn the method, learn the mission behind what they are doing. Because for you, the method that you might need to do it might be different. So for me now, when I want to learn, let's say a song is going to mentor me to create another song, I don't want to create exactly what the person that created the song has created, but I want to know why the person is using some elements in that song. I want to know, this particular element is emotional. That's why he has used it. So I can also create something emotional, not necessarily what he has created and all of that. And if my mentor is saying that, okay, he did this, he did that, and this was what he got, I will ask that, okay, what led to you doing that particular thing? So I call it thoughts to go by. When you think about how people think to do stuff rather than just doing what they do. So number one, like I rightly said, learn from their principles, not necessarily doing the exact thing that they have done. And also be careful to over-trust your mentor. No man deserves trust except God. No man deserves trust except God. This is where I will go to the Bible. You know, when you read Jeremiah 17:5, and there, where it said that cursed would be the man that trusts in the arm of flesh. Even including yourself. You are not supposed to trust in yourself. But there is a way that trust thing works. It's like a triangle where I trust God, then down to the man, then it comes like that. But if it is, if it is just straight line, straight to the man, sometimes our trust puts too much weight on other people that they now start to malfunction. Sometimes they might want to even lord it over you, because over time you have seen them as the source of what you need, not knowing that God has brought them around you just for you to learn from, not necessarily to rely on. Yes, your mentors, you are supposed to learn from them, not necessarily that you rely on them. Because by the time you start to rely on them, they will own you. Because it is the one that owns you that you are supposed to rely on, by the way. So we need to be careful of that. Don't put too much expectation on them. And I will also say this, that proximity, that is closeness, is actually a magnifying glass. The more you get close to somebody, the more you start to see the faults in that person. It's something that I will tell you, that will tell all of us that we need to be careful of, so that as you get closer to your mentor, you start to see some feelings, you start to see some faults in them. Be careful. What you are supposed to learn from them, learn. Don't try to now look for a perfect human being to mentor you, because even you yourself, you are not perfect. That is why you are looking for a mentor. And to mentors too, I want to say that don't become a tormentor to the ones that you have been called. to mentor. For those that are mentees, I would say that you should watch out for this. The day your mentor sees you as a competition, be careful. The day they see you as a competition, be careful. In fact, in most cases, which is not advisable, by the way, disclaimer first, I would say you run. Because I learned to run from David. You remember, David was to become a king. He was anointed and he was also working in the palace, which technically he was supposed to be learning to be a king from King Saul. You understand? But at some point, when King Saul knew about who David has become, that is going to be the one to take over from him, then David became his competition and he tried to kill David severally. It goes two ways. The wisdom for the mentee is that what David did was, David was not criticizing him. Rather, David was playing from afar. You know, David at some point, he took, like the Bible says, he ran away just to hide. And because he knows that, yes, despite the failings of that man, there is still an anointing over his head. So he still respected that. He even had a chance at some point to kill Saul, but he did not do that. And to mentors, the day you start to see your mentee as a competition, I think problem has started. You might need to start checking your own insecurity, because the prayer has always been that our mentees should be better than us. Even Jesus, who happens to be our grand mentor, said great work that he had done, but greater works we, his mentee children, should do. So the day you start to look down at your children, that you start to look down at your, not necessarily children, the day you started looking at your mentees that, they are doing too much, that they have become the distraction to the attraction that you are having, be careful so that you will not fall into what happened to Saul. What happened to Saul was that Saul left who he was, started pursuing who David was going to become. He left his throne where he was a king. He left the throne and he ended up in the bush, in all of those places, looking for David. So that you will not leave what you are supposed to be doing, that every of your content, everything that you start to do is just to attack that person that happens to be your mentee, that over time has learned from some of the things that you have actually taught them. I think in this case, what should have happened is, just imagine that a Saul saw David, the way David was going, and he just keeps telling people that, yes, that is my boy. I trained him. That is my boy. That actually elongates his, what is it called? It's going to elongate his influence and popularity. I do that a lot. In fact, when they start to grow, I readjust. Some of them, I make mentors too. I readjust to start to learn from them. I readjust to start to treat them with respect. I readjust to start to treat them for what they have become. Who said that a mentor cannot learn from his mentee? Now, you can also learn from them, because you are not Ogbon. Like Ashake will say, you are not Olugbon of Ogbonland. You can learn from them too. There are new things that have started happening that your mentees might actually stumble on. It is all a pleasure when you now say, this new thing that I'm doing, look, I don't know it. Can you just teach me? And they get to teach you. And from there, you start to, you build up your own arsenal too. That's, Yoruba people will say that you prostrate for a short man. Doesn't mean that when you stand up, you won't still be taller than the person. So I think when we pay attention to just these few things that I've said, it goes a long way, both from the mentor and the mentees. And for a mentor, look, you are not their source. God is their source. Don't over-control people's life, that you now, when they now don't do what you ask them to do, you now start getting angry. First, sometimes, probably as a mentor, you have to give people a chance to actually make their mistakes so that they can come to themselves and really find the lessons that they are supposed to learn themselves. And you don't load them when they make those mistakes. You lovingly call them that, okay, this was what I was actually trying to make sure that you don't do. Why I've been saying this and I've been saying that, but notwithstanding, it's part of it's part of the journey. That you making that mistake is just part of the journey. And I think you should move on with it. So if we can do all of these things, I think it will go a long way, because there are a lot of knowledge, there are a lot of things that are missing, especially with the Gen Z generation, that people keep complaining about the Gen Z generation, that they are not ready to learn, they are not ready to listen, they are not ready to do this. Yes, we know they are not ready to, but probably we are not speaking the language they understand. Probably we should start speaking their language, and if we can speak their language, if you can get them, if you can get their attention and actually start to pass on the torch to them. And this will also really help, that you don't just correct your mentees for things you don't like. Make sure that you are correcting them for what is wrong. Because sometimes we try to force our preference, we start to force the style that we know. We try to force ourselves on people. We want them to just become a carbon copy or a typical copy of ourselves so that our legacy can live on. No, that does not elongate our legacy. What elongates your legacy is each time that each mentee remembers that I learned this principle from this person, they will tell the people that they are going to mentor to that this particular principle, and that is how your name. But by the time that is how your name grows. But by the time you want to always have control, you always want to be the center of attraction, that can be a distraction to a mentor. And if you are a mentor, trust me, the crown will not always be on your head. At some point, a new kid on the block will come, a new firebrand will come, a new guy that sings better than whatever you have done, a guy who is going to come that is going to do way better than you have done. It will be a pleasure if the person is also coming from you. So don't be a competition to the people that you are supposed to raise. And you will start noticing this thing by the time you notice that everything they do, you have the urge to always want to shallay, to want to criticize them, to want to say that they are not doing it right, how they are not doing it well, and all of that. So we need to be careful of those things. I don't want these videos to be very long, but I have a whole lot to say about this. Hopefully, if I get some comments and I get some questions from this particular one, I will do a part 2 to this particular topic because it's a very interesting one. Like I said, please help me to like this and help me to share it. Help me to also do me a favor. Please subscribe if you are not. If you stumble on this video by mistake, just subscribe. I'm about to release a song and I need all the help that I can get with this YouTube page. So thank you guys.